What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logisticalstyles coming at you with another video. And today I'm doing basically a gig review and a product re-review or re-evaluation, I should say. So just recently, Friday, this weekend, I had a gig that was just a 2-hour set in a hotel lobby. And I decided to use this gig as a chance to once again try my portable wireless battery powered setup. And I've done this before with other gigs. I've done it at like an apartment complex where I was doing like a tenant appreciation party, and it was just a really short barbecue. Once again, it was like a 2-hour event. So I had the same setup as I had previously. This time I was in a hotel lobby. I was not playing very loud at all. I used my Mackie Thump Go, which is an 8-inch portable battery powered speaker. I had that hooked up, and I had my Pioneer Rev 1, which is USB powered, and it was hooked up to my iPad, which was playing Algorithm DJ. And the final piece for the wireless solution was the Xvive U3 wireless receiver and transmitters. I had these hooked up to my controller, and I'll show you that in a minute. Actually, let's pull over the iPad. This is what the setup looked like from in front of it. As you can see, I had the Mackie Thump Go right back there, and I had these little wireless transmitters transmitting to the Mackie Thump Go, and then my iPad was controlling Algorithm DJ Pro and the Pioneer Rev 1. And I thought that was a really good setup, very efficient. I'm trying to make myself be more comfortable with using a DJ Pro out and about, especially on the iPad. I'm so used to the Serato screen and that layout, but I have to, be more flexible. And it actually is a really good app. It worked perfectly well with the Rev 1. There were no issues. Every button worked as I expected it to. There was no problems loading music. I've had people ask me, well, where's the music at? The music is on the iPad. So I manage my playlist on my MacBook Pro. I connect my iPad to it, and I choose which playlist I want to bring. I don't need to bring, 40,000 songs with me on the iPad to do a 2-hour set. When you're doing a short set like that and it's not a party, you kind of are able to pick out what you're going to play. So I had pulled the playlist that I wanted to use onto the iPad, and I played it like that. I also had the option of playing from Tidal. And I maybe played one song that streamed because I was connected to the hotel Wi-Fi. I just wanted to test it to see if it worked. Worked fine as expected. So you have the option for streaming, and you have the option for using your onboard music. And the other option is if you get the right USB adapter with a USB hub, you can hook up a flash drive or maybe a solid state drive. It won't work with a spinning mechanical drive because they take too much power, but I know it definitely works with a flash drive. And I'm assuming a solid state would be just as easy to load music as well, because I'll go back to the picture right here. On the algorithm DJ Pro, you have the option to choose from your music app, which is basically iTunes. You have your Tidal option. You have your playlist that you can make within Algorithm DJ. You have files, so you can go into files and you can use that to find music that would be on a external drive, a flash drive. So that's the setup I had, and let's get a little closer so you can see. All right, right here, what I did was I hooked both sets up. And the reason I hooked up both sets, one on each channel, is because I wanted to have like a redundant backup, but I discovered that that doesn't sound so great. There's a little bit of a phasing sound because there is some latency when transmitting wirelessly. I mean, it's not like seconds or even a half second or anything like that, but these side by side, they weren't exactly transmitting the same thing, so it kind of gave it a little hollow sound. So I had to turn down one of the channels. But on the controller, let's go over here. On the controller, it looks like this. So I put these little ports, these little XLR ports on the back of this case. That's a customization that I added, and it's been really handy even when I'm using like cable and not just these adapters. But I had them hooked up and they were set to channel 1, and they had been fully charged. I charged them all day before, or the day of. And like I said, 17 minutes or so into the set, I start hearing static and getting the dropouts, and suddenly the sound just did die for about a good 5 seconds or so. But I heard it coming, so I was scrambling to grab an XLR cable to run it to the speaker. It's just really awkward because I had already been playing. And like I said, this is the hotel lobby, so it was really, when I got there, it was just quiet. They didn't have any other music playing in the background. You just heard the sound of people coming and going. It was a very slow night. There was nothing, like no events in town, no reason for this hotel to be super busy. There was just people coming and going. A couple people sat at the bar, had some drinks, but they were watching TV. They weren't even caring about the music. So I've done gigs in other hotels where it is like a 4-hour set, and they do actually have a lounge and a DJ booth, and people do come there to chill and kind of listen to your music a little bit while they're waiting for an Uber or whatever. But this hotel was kind of, it's just, the setup was just really weird. It just kind of felt like I was just out there. But I was able to experiment, and I was able to just, get some more data points for whether or not I like these. Now, one thing I will say is over the past year or so that I've had these, I've used these at different events, and I noticed the pattern. The pattern is it's radio interference. You have to be aware of your surroundings. This hotel was right outside of Hartsfield International Airport. This is the world's busiest airport. Several years straight, the world's busiest airport. So there's going to be a lot of, or I should have known there was going to be a lot of radio interference there. The other time that I've used these things and that they failed me, I was actually playing in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is where the Atlanta United football team and the Atlanta Falcons play. It's a big stadium. It wasn't during an event. It wasn't during like a football game or anything like that, but it was open. This was a corporate event I was doing, so there was a lot of security stuff going on. There's stuff that happens in the stadium even when there's not a game going on, and the amount of interference I had with these made these not work, and these were like 50 feet away. Friday, the speaker was like 4 feet away. You see in the picture, it was just like right behind me. This gig I did a few months ago at the stadium, the speakers are like 50 feet away, and they dropped out. I just couldn't really use them. Now, the times that I have had success with these is when it's been in like a suburban area or a rural area, someplace that isn't quite so, I guess, active with quite as many radio frequencies. Like I mentioned, I did this at an apartment complex where their tenant appreciation party, and the Xvives, they were probably maybe this far away from each other, really. My case was here, and the speakers were right there on a tripod. And they worked great, no problems. And I expected them to work great, but now that I'm looking back, this was a residential area and wasn't a stadium or right outside of an airport. So think about that when you try to use those. I mean, I think you should kind of maybe, if you can, afford to just have these as a backup tool or just in case tool. They have been very handy, and they have helped in other situations. I've used them at wedding ceremonies before, and they've been perfectly fine. Not ceremony, but it was a wedding vow renewal ceremony, and this was used to transmit cocktail hour music. And I had a direct lines upsite in that event, and they worked perfectly fine. But it wasn't, it was a suburban area. It was not a whole lot of stuff around. It was at an event venue that was kind of secluded, and they work fine. So I think what you can take away from this video is that these things they still are a decent value, but use caution when you use these. Think about where you are. It should have been obvious. I mean, and you do have an option of switching channels, but then to me it just feels like Russian roulette because you're trying to choose the next less crowded frequency, and while you're doing that, you're probably having dropouts and stopping the party. So if you use these, always have an XLR cable available. Have a backup. And that's what I did at that gig on Friday. I just swapped it to the to the XLR cable, and we kept it moving. But anyway, that was just I figured that'd be a good little bit of advice. When I posted pictures of this setup on social media, I had a few people ask me how they worked out, what my opinion of them was, and I figured this is easier than typing a whole bunch of stuff, and it makes great content for the channel. So if you like what you see, like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe and comment. Let me know if you've used these, if you had issues with them before, if you've had success. Do you have the same history that I have, that if it's in a crowded area, a really big place, that you're going to have problems with your reception? Or are you just having great experience with it all every time you use it? Let me know. But anyway, be on the lookout for the next video. It's your boy Logistical Styles, and I am out. Peace.